where you sort of lose your mindfulness, then you take note, okay, you troubleshoot which part I did wrong, then you go back to R&D, then you try to improve. Yeah.
So meaning walking meditation is more towards open awareness kind of meditation, right?
Can be either. It can be focus, can be concentration, can be open awareness. Like some people just walk, they just put toe, you do left, right, put toe, then that's all. Can be concentration, can be or more vipassana also, depending on how you focus. Yeah.
Okay, noted. Thank you.
Yeah. So in this Jangama Sutta, Walking Meditation Sutta, Thai pronounced as Jongklong, very close to the Pali pronunciation. Pali is Jangama, then the Thai they pronounce as Jongklong. And one of the benefits of walking meditation is you enter concentration more easily. Surprise, everybody. They only sit down can enter concentration. But if you look up at the sutta, one of the benefits is you enter concentration more easily. So that implies a lot of things, depending on how you interpret. Okay, yeah, now it's 1:30. Not sure, is anyone else coming in?
Okay, start Bante.
All right.
Okay, thanks Bante. You too, and good morning, good afternoon, brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. Welcome to MSBS Meditation Retreat, Dhamma Talk by Phra Goh. Today is 27th of June 2021. And today we are continuing yesterday's Dhamma Talk titled The Power of Binding Even One Precept. We are very grateful to have with us Bhante Adhibalo, popularly known as Phra Goh. Bhante had his bhikkhu ordination into the Theravada tradition of Thai Dhamma sect at Satipatthana Monastery in Johor in 2008. Bhante is currently the religious advisor to Buddhist Youth Network Singapore and has been conducting MSBS weekly Tuesday guided meditation since July 2020. Let us compose our mind, put our palms together, and welcome Bhante. Over to you, Bhante.
Okay, thank you, Terence, and good afternoon to one and all. Today we are starting this Dhamma talk in the afternoon for the retreat participants, and it's a continuation from yesterday, actually, yeah. Because yesterday is this World Drug Day. There's a lot of drug abusers, so there's this special International Awareness Day for this month. This is the World Drug Day yesterday, so it's a continuation. So we talk about the precepts, especially the one on not taking drugs, alcohol and drugs, and we are now continuing to the practice part. So yesterday we marketed the benefits of these precepts. The person observe the precepts very well, can even lead to Nibbana. Normally people say, 5 precepts. No, cannot reach enlightenment one. I need to take on higher precepts. Yeah, so that comes more like post canonical, yeah, especially maybe commentaries or post commentaries even, yeah. It's more like to maintain certain social structure actually. And of course, the other extreme would be giving too much this liberty and freedom to a layperson is not very helpful also, yeah. We can see some of these happening. I'm not sure whether I discussed it before. Some of the monks that we had discussion were mentioning, okay, nowadays lay people are the one teaching Buddhism. Then the monks take the back seat and we just sprinkle holy water. And the monks don't teach anymore. Yeah, so there's certain disproportion in this, how do you call this, Buddhist community. Certain disproportion. Of course, there are certain institutions where monastics do study, they are more academically qualified. So of course, they are more well-versed in the teachings. Let's say in the forest tradition, it's not like mandatory for all the monks to teach. Yeah, not mandatory for them to take up studies. So a lot of them, or rather quite a lot that I know, may not have fundamental this theoretical knowledge of Buddhism. Yeah, so it's a case-by-case basis. Doesn't mean that they don't have theoretical understanding, means they do not know how to practice. Some of the practice can be very simple, very simple-minded, but the faculties may be correct. Yeah? So, and vice versa, the person can be very knowledgeable, but the faculties may not be there. Okay, and we emphasize this part after taking the precepts, the monk will chant this verse, and we emphasize on the last second line, Silena Nibbutting Yanti. Yeah, people attain peace through Sila, but the root word is Nibbutting or Nibbana. Right? So a person taking these 5 precepts, right, eventually has Nibbana as their goal. Nibbana as their goal. So different people will interpret differently. But we have this sutta, interestingly, this Salayaka sutta we talked about yesterday. I can move on the next few slides. Yeah, so these are like the 10 meritorious deeds, and if a person observes the 5 precepts very well, so the precept on lying, they observe the right speech as a whole package, right, including the avoid this abusive speech, and divisive speech, and gossip, including the avoid telling lies. And the more they practice, they reduce their greed, hatred, delusion, and of course, mentally, they need to have the intention to be positive. Then they will fulfill this 10 meritorious deeds, this criteria, and upon passing away. And the Buddha gave many, many examples, the whole spectrum of the realm of existence, from the human realm and onwards, all the Deva realms. A person can be born in any of the higher realms. And better still, a person can even wish to enter this Nibbana. It means don't get reborn again. So this is how powerful is these 5 precepts. Yeah, 5 precepts, the 10 meritorious deeds. Right? So it's not just the physical 5 precepts alone. We talk about even quarantine and lockdown. A person can lie down and sleep the whole day. A person won't break the precepts. Yeah, you sleep the whole day, but it doesn't purify your mind. Right? So likewise, coma patient in the hospital, you can give them 1 million precepts, no problem. They can observe 1 million precepts. Yeah. So that's not the way to purify the mind. It's got to do with your intention in daily life application. When you come across certain scenarios, do you know how to overcome this obstacle using the precepts? Using the precepts as a guideline, how can you watch? How can you curb craving, right? Greed and hatred. So this is the underlying message of the precepts. Okay, so we're going to move on for today's topic. Okay, so morality as a meditation, since today's retreat. So how can morality, right, be taken as a meditation object? Right? Previously, we talked about morality as a lifestyle. It's important, right, as part of meditation. It's a holistic kind of training. But morality by itself also can be taken as meditation. Yeah, meditation. So we talk about, actually it's very supplementary to the Tuesday series. Tuesday series, we talk about recollecting the triple gem, Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. a person can think Buddha, Buddha, Dhammo, Dhammo, Sangho, Sangho, right? So they can repeat like a mantra. This is one form of meditation. But traditionally in the suttas, they think of the whole set of qualities. Like if a person think of the Buddha, then they need to think of all the 9 virtues of the Buddha. Think of the Dhamma, think of the whole 6 virtues of the Dhamma, think of the Sangha, all the 9 virtues of the Sangha. So what about morality or your sila? So I'm just going to read through the slides, and this is like the standard kind of contemplation. Okay, there is the case where you recollect your own virtues. Right? So your virtues, that means your precepts or your ethical guidelines, are untorn, unbroken, unspotted, unsplattered, liberating, praised by the wise, untarnished, conducive to concentration. Right? At any time when a disciple of the noble ones is recollecting virtue, right? So they recollect this virtue like this. That means if you observe your precept very well, then you can think back, okay, I didn't do this, and my precept very pure. Yeah? So you recollect in this manner. So again, like all meditation objects, there is extremes. If a person do not apply non-greed, non-hatred, can can go sideways, can go to the extremes. Like for example, if let's say impurities of the body meditation, if they do with aversion, then a person can get depression or suicidal. Yeah? So this is one extreme. Then if a person think of the body, they have greed and greed, then becomes lust, think of the body and get lustful. So there's always extremes in all kinds of meditation, right? Because the middle way is not about the object. It's the Eightfold Path, the right intention, right thought. Is it non-greed or non-hatred? So you need to apply this. So even the breath, people think breath is very neutral. Yeah, breath very neutral. So the breath also can be extreme. Right? In the Buddha's time, the Buddha, before he got enlightened, when he was practicing asceticism, he used the breath to torture himself. And he breathed in, he don't want to breathe out. Yeah, and get this hyperventilation, try to suffocate himself. Right? So there are a lot of other breath techniques to torture himself. So, so that isn't the way to practice. So if a person with a think of virtue can go sideways as well. So one of the example I would think of is a person can get proud. See, my precept purer than you, you know. See, I so quiet, never do anything wrong. So I'm purer. So this is it can boost a person's ego if they recollect, like you see, I observe my precepts so well, I never do this, never do that. I'm more superior. I'm a more superior Buddhist. So this is one of the extremes if not contemplated correctly. And another extreme is guilt. Yeah, the other extreme is guilt. If let's say you overthink it, did I do this wrong or not? No, even though there's no intention, we talk about the 4 or 5 kind of conditions that considered breaking the precepts. So sometimes you overthink, you over worry, you try to find fault with yourself, find fault until, maybe I infringed this rule, maybe I infringed that rule, maybe I transgressed this, maybe I transgressed that. So the more you think, the more guilt and remorse and more worry you have. So this is another extreme, right? So in meditation, again, like any object, we are trying to avoid both extremes of greed and hatred. Yeah, we're trying to walk the middle path, not 50% of both, but avoiding both extremes. Yeah, so we need to apply loving kindness, right? We have to be kind. So when we think on the precepts, okay, these precepts are the intention for, is to purify yourself. Some people, maybe not much for the layperson, because the monastics, because there are so many rules. So sometimes it's easy if, let's say, in the monastic community, in a large community especially, there will be monks or monastics who like to find fault with others. If you never do this, you never follow this precept, you never follow that precept. So it's very easy to find fault with others, right? So I think in one of the previous series, we talked about this in the multi-tradition, same liberation, right? So different communities have different take in this issue. But in, let's say, in Pali Night Temple or even in Santi, most of the time we leave it to their preceptor or their mentor to guide them. Yeah. So if we are not related to the other monks, then we just leave them alone. They answer to their own karma. Yeah. We cannot judge their intention anyway. So we just watch ourselves. So the precepts is to observe our own selves. So one of the motivational self-improvement questions is, okay, what have I done? Do I need to further improve myself? So it's important to self-reflect, to improve yourself, but don't go to the extreme of keeping finding fault until you get guilty. So this is important. So we need to find the balance. Okay, and then we move on. Okay, so again, like any meditation object, if done correctly, can lead to these different factors of awakening or factors of enlightenment. Is a chain reaction. So if, let's say, you think on the precept, you think, then very high chance that you might be able to stray off into daydreaming. Oh, I've done this precept well, then on this certain day or today or the past few years, I've recollected, I've done this, I've done that. Very high chance you might end up daydreaming or over fantasizing. That would be another case scenario. Yeah. So for beginners, one possible practice is to just recite one mantra. So like in the recollection of triple gen, right? We think of Buddha, Dhamma, or Sangha. But how about this, your virtue? You can just think of virtue. And just one, you can use your English, virtue, yeah? Virtue. Or you can think of this Pali word, sila, yeah? So you can think of this morality or virtue. So this way, you can use this word as a mantra to focus the mind. Yeah, focus the mind. And what if you think your mind is too quiet, you need to juice up, you need some positive energy, you need some motivation. Then yeah, you can think of, okay, in the past I've done certain good deeds, I've kept my precept well, yeah, so this will encourage you, give you some energy, right? Then if you start to do this and you start to stray off again, then you come back to this mantra again. So you can switch, alternate between both. Okay, so what happens if you trigger these factors of awakening? If let's say you have enough wholesome karma, enough wholesome thoughts, then certain things will happen. When there's a saturation of goodness, then the mind not overcome with passion, not overcome with aversion, not overcome with delusion, right? His mind heads straight. Okay, then what happens is they have a sense of the goal, gains a sense of the Dhamma, right? Gains joy connected with the Dhamma. So this is the trigger. So once you recollect correctly, then this Dhamma joy will arise, rapture arises. So this rapture, do not be confused with the jhanic rapture. It's not the concentration jhanas kind of rapture. Yeah. So a lot of time when we think of the meditation practice, we think of the asubha meditation, the hair falling off, and some people feel joy, or we feel the impermanence of the breath, we feel joy. That is not the jhanic kind of joy. Yeah? This is more towards insight, vipassana kind of joy. Okay, then the body grows calm. So the next step after joy is this tranquility. The body grows calm, or the mind gets calm, right? One at ease, and the mind becomes concentrated. So this concentration again is not the jhanic kind of concentration, is the vipassana kind of concentration. And yeah, and they never mention the equanimity after that. So if a person carry on being mindful of this meditation object, then eventually can develop this equanimity. It's part of the 7 factors. Okay, then we move on. Okay, yeah, so this is where we talk about daily life. Right, some people asking, after the Zoom session, what should we do? Right, you're not encouraged to sit the whole day, but if let's say you naturally want to sit the whole day, then by all means, then you sit the whole day. But if you cannot sit the whole day, you have lots of pain, lots of aches, or lots of resistance, please, change to other postures. You can walk, you can stand, you can do your house chores, do other tasks, right? So it is mentioned in this particular sutta, this Maha Sutta, that this Maha is actually the king after this King Suddhodana, the Buddha's father. Yes, the Buddha's father got no hair, nobody to replace him. And the son is actually the Buddha, and the grandson become a monk also, yeah, this Rahula. So nobody to take over him, become the king. So the next in line is this army general, this Maha. So the second clan's army general, this Maha, I presume, yeah, maybe there are more Mahanamas, but the general, also by the name of Maha, took over this position as the king of the second clan. So he asked the Buddha how to practice, and the Buddha recommended these 6 recollections. You can think of the Buddha, the Dhamma, the Sangha. So there's already 3. You can think of the precepts. You can think of the good deeds you've done, and you can think of the devas, the qualities of the heavenly beings. So total 6 recollections. You don't have to think all 6 at once. You can just pick one. Pick one that you are more inclined. Right? So if let's say you just want to think on the Buddha, then you think on the Buddha, Lord. Right? If you want to think of your like this on your precepts, then by all means think of your precepts, your virtues. No problem. So interestingly, with these 6 recollections, it kind of encompasses people of all faiths, people of all belief systems. So if you're Buddhist, you can think on the triple gem, no problem. If you are if you are a monotheist or a polytheist, you believe in God or multiple gods, then you can think of this Devatanusati, mindfulness of the heavenly beings. Right, that also works. And if let's say a person has no religion, no belief, no doesn't believe in any deity or don't believe in Buddhism, they can recollect their virtues, the good deeds they've done, what kind of ethical principles they uphold. The more they recollect that, the more joy they have. And when the conditions are right, they put in enough effort and consistency, can trigger the Dhamma, yeah? Can trigger this path of the Dhamma. So it's an open path to anybody, regardless of belief system. So the emphasis is not on the label belief. A lot of people in their birth certificate can mention they are Buddhist. Once they're born, they put the Buddhist, but haven't taken refuge in Triple Gem. Don't even know what is Triple Gem. So label is one thing. How you practice is another thing. So recently in Singapore, there's this release in the statistic, the consensus, 30-something% Buddhists in Singapore. I say, hey, where got accurate? Not accurate at all. Okay, but never mind. So we're going to move on with this statement. Okay, so you should develop this recollection, right? Any of the 6, or you want to do 6 also can. Recollection of virtue while you are walking. So walking meditation also can. So you walk back and forth. You think of your virtue, right? And while you are standing, so you sit down too long and stand also can meditate, right? While you are sitting, while you are lying down, lie down also can. Yeah? While you are busy at work, working also can. While you are resting in your home, crowded with children, also can do babysitting, also can recollect this virtue, right? So, but of course, if you do very intense planning work, you need to do a lot of thinking on this your work, or you need a lot of carefulness. Then you can just forget about it for a while. Yeah, if you're too distracted with your meditation recollection, then you forget about your task, then you current gabble get into problem or accident, then and that's a big problem. So you need to find your balance. How much can you retain mindfulness on this meditation theme, and how much can you do your task? So it's good to experiment and find your balance. So there are lots of universal meditation objects which can be done round the clock. So we always encourage the 4 sublime states, emotion, positive emotion can be done throughout the day, right? A person, if let's say they can get grumpy and angry the whole day, they can do their work angrily. You can do it with loving kindness, and you can do it with compassion, right? So the 4 sublime states is a very good meditation theme that can be done the whole day. So another one is this one. If let's say you're too busy fantasizing on all the good deeds you've done, then you might be distracted from your work, right? So one good way is the mantra method. Yeah, just think of your morality, sila, or you can think of virtue. Right. So once you think of this, then it's easy to 2-in-1. Instead of wasting your energy, worrying, or getting your mind restless over unnecessary thinking, then you anchor that thought towards this mantra. So it help you in your daily life, and if your mind is calm, then you make more rational decisions. Yeah, more rational thinking based on your state of emotion. If you're always worried, you do your work worried, angry, upset, then the choices you make most probably be poor choices. And then you affect again your morality, yeah, your decisions. Yeah, so it's a chain, it's a cycle. What you think is what you do. Okay, so this is this Mahanama Sutta. Okay, next. Okay, so this is just a case study, yeah, because there's so many precepts, but for layperson it's easy, like you all got 5 precepts only, so this is for actually for monastics. If a person in the Buddha's time, this guy called Vajiputta, he cannot remember all the rules. So many precepts, yeah. So there's this 150 training rules. Yeah, 150 training rules come every fortnight. Yeah, they have to recite 150. So this is probably midway through the Buddha's career. So there's not yet mentioned a full 227 precepts. So the precepts are developed over time. Whenever there's an issue or whenever there's a complaint, then the Buddha will formulate new rules. So initially, when there's a few Sangha members, maybe 0 precepts, no rules at all. When more and more monks, then more and more problems, and the Buddha lay down some rules. Yeah? Then over time, get more and more rules. So this is the time where there's only 150 rules. So this particular monk, he asked the Buddha, okay, there are more than 150 training rules they have to recite in the new and full moon. They say he cannot train, he cannot remember them. How? So the Buddha replied, monk, can you train in reference to the 3 trainings? The training in heightened virtue, right? The training in heightened mind, the training in heightened discernment. And he said, yes, yes, Lord. Right, so this heightened virtue is actually your right speech, action, and livelihood. Right, so this is actually the summary of the Eightfold Path, Sila, Samadhi, Panya. So training in heightened mind is actually Samadhi. And training in heightened discernment is actually the wisdom, right thought and right understanding. They say yes. Right, so some people say, okay, a person want to practice enlightenment means must become a monastic. Not all monastics can remember these training rules. Yeah, they cannot remember all. So some of them we have I've personally encountered a lot of these, not a lot, maybe some monks, they're ordained at a very old age, maybe at the 60s or 70s, then they ordain. You cannot expect them to memorize all the rules. Yeah, very hard to get them to memorize all the rules. So even though they read through the rules in their own language, they may not be able to apply them because their lifestyle, they've been living a certain life for 60, 70 years already. Suddenly want them to transform and live this kind of lifestyle and abide 100% the rules. Not easy. Not easy. Yeah, so we start off with this higher training, higher virtue, higher mind, and higher discernment. So if a layperson, like we mentioned the last week, if you observe your 5 precepts very well, that is the foundation. That's the foundation. Yeah, so the monastic rules, a lot of them are branched off from the 5 precepts. Yeah, and there's also some from the 8 precepts. Yeah. Okay, so passion, aversion, and delusion, when trained in heightened virtue, heightened mind, and heightened discernment, will be abandoned. Right? Then eventually they will not do anything unskillful or engage in any evil. So this is the main point. So we talked about earlier on, there are at least 4 conditions or 5, 4, that when you commit them, will transgress or break the precepts. So the first one is intention. So if a person trains in heightened mind, heightened wisdom, the mind has no greed, no anger, then they won't break the precept, won't commit any wrongdoing at all. So you can find this in the Karaniya Metta Sutta. If a person has no more anger, no more aversion, right? Because it's actually dualism. If a person has aversion, means they have greed. So if a person has no more aversion, that means they have no more greed. Yeah, they are both. So if a person has slowly, come to reduce or eliminate this greed and hatred, then you can throw at them 1 million precepts, no problem. Although physically, they might be seen doing something not so, in line, not proper, but they won't break the precept. Yeah. So a few good case examples would be this Venerable Sariputta is mentioned after he got enlightened. When they are traveling, they're walking, he likes to jump over puddles of water. The rest of the monks will just skirt around the water. Yeah, we just walk around the water. For him to jump over, jump over the water. So in the monastic rules, you have this very minor training rule that say we shouldn't jump. Doesn't look nice. And also for practical reason, because we wear this robe, something like this sarong. You jump, then easily may fall off, yeah, or may 遭更, yeah. So not so nice if we jump. So it's better to walk around any obstacle. Yeah. So for him, he jumped. So the commentaries will give excuse and say, "Oh, the past, don't know how many lifetimes he was a monkey. Whenever Satipatthana in the past life, many lifetimes he was a monkey. So he's habit to jump. Yeah, but he has no evil intention to break the precept. It's not like his mind is very mischievous, very greedy, or very angry. Then he jump. No, he jump his habit. Right. So the training rules, there are a lot of them are more like etiquette, more like behavioral things that looks nice on a social and customary basis. And so if a lay person were to reduce greed and hatred, that's the main point. Okay, next. Yeah, so we mentioned this in one of our previous series. There is flexibility, right? No, I think 5 precepts is not as difficult. But even lay person setting, then you say, oh yeah, if you go to work out there, sure we'll break precept one. The world is a very chaotic place. It's a dog-eat-dog world. If you don't break the precept, you cannot survive. Some people will give this excuse. So when I give this reference, I'm not encouraging people to break the precept. I'm just saying there are ways to interpret the precepts, and you don't have to hold it too rigidly. You don't have to hold it too rigidly. And also, to the extent, do not be too loose and don't follow the precept at all. And then you cite me saying, can be flexible. Yeah, Phra Goh say flexible, so you can don't follow the precept. No, so this, I'm going to go through this. These are called the 4 great standards. That means, although the Buddha has laid down the rules, the precepts, that was like 2,500 years ago. So now how? Some people say now not applicable. Some of the rules or some of the situation may be different. Yeah, like maybe last time there's no such thing as stock market. Now there's stock market. So is investing stock market gambling or not? Some people may think like this. So different people have different understanding. So again, I'm going to read through. Then a lot of things is depending on various conditions and whether it's allowable or not allowable is a case by case basis. Okay, so so the first case scenario said, bhikkhus, whatever I have not objected. Okay, so that means whatever the Buddha has not objected, that means this is not allowable. Yeah, the Buddha never say cannot do this or cannot do that. Yeah, so this is not being mentioned at all. Yeah, not mentioned at all. So like 2,500 years ago, there's no handphone, there's no electronic gadget, right? So the Buddha, of course, he won't lay down this rule, cannot use handphone, cannot use electronic gadget because the condition haven't arisen. Okay, so this is not allowable. But if it fits in with what is not allowable, if it goes against what is allowable, this is not allowable for you. So let's say in retreat setting, that certain entertainment, certain things maybe not conducive, right? You create craving, very contradicting your practice. You want to reduce desire, but then certain lifestyle habits you do create desire. Then this is not allowable for you. Okay, so some of them you must gauge, not just in the scriptural letters, in the words, but also you have to look inward. You have to look inward and compare whether is it helpful, beneficial, or not beneficial. So you have to base on this, yeah. And then the next scenario, yeah. Whatever I have not objected to saying, this is not allowable, but if it fits in with what is allowable, if it goes against what is not allowable, then this is allowable for you. So again, 2,500 years ago, never mentioned certain thing. The Buddha say never disallow certain thing. But in this present day and age, yeah, if it is allowable, that means no society-wise, a lot of wise people, they do it, right? And it goes against what is not allowable. Then you should do it. It's allowable for you. Can you think of an example? Okay, maybe layperson, not so much. Yeah, you can think of your work scenario, then later you get back to me. Yeah, some of the examples you face. Okay, then the next one. Because if I give monastic example, maybe not applicable for your layperson. Okay, then the third scenario. And whatever I have not permitted, and the Buddha did not permit, saying this is allowable. And if it fits in with what is not allowable, if it goes against what is allowable, then this is not allowable for you. Yeah, that means whatever the Buddha did not agree, and society also do not agree, then you shouldn't do. So like we mentioned before, right livelihood, in the past, there are 5 traits which is mentioned not allowable. So in modern days, there's so many new kinds of occupation, right? If you think it is dishonest, society do not agree, then don't do that. Don't go and do it. Yeah, so this is one case example. Okay, then the last one, and whatever I have not permitted, saying this is allowable. If it fits in with what is allowable, if it goes against what is not allowable, this is allowable for you. Right? So if the society at large agrees and it is wholesome, then by all means it's allowable. Yeah, you should do it. So things like things that already being permitted, being mentioned in scripture is like, for example, like generosity, kind acts. All these are encouraged by the Buddha. So it's allowable, agreed in society. So you should do it. Yeah, so one good example is we talk about drugs, right? So in the past, there's no such thing as, I don't know what the modern drugs, maybe cigarettes and whatever not. Right? So 2,500 years ago, there's a lot of these drugs, maybe opium and whatever not being mentioned. Not being mentioned. But if society at large do not agree with such behavior, right? The laws do not agree and it's harmful for you, then do not do it. Do not do it. All right, so it goes in line with yesterday's theme. Okay, so these are the 4 mentions. Actually, you can reduce to 2, either allowed or not allowed. Yeah. So these are basically the 4 great standards. Okay, any examples from anyone on the ground? Any real life layperson scenarios at workplace or at home that you think encounter these kind of situations where you feel like, oh, your precepts might be too rigid, or these contradictions, you don't know how to face situations. And after hearing this, do you think can resolve the issue? Now, it's not asking you to forego your precepts. It's asking you to, whatever, right, that is not being covered in the modern day context. Yeah. If it is beneficial for yourself and others, then please do it. If it is not beneficial for yourself or for others, then please reconsider many, many times then before you not try to do it. Yeah, okay, so next slide. Okay, so this is the main thing, the essence of the precepts. So like mentioned, the precepts is not to tie you down. It is not an obstacle. It is to help you. Yeah, it's a self-help kind of training, self-help kind of practice. So in essence, this Venerable Ananda, the Buddha's attendant, right, being asked by the Buddha tests him. So the Buddha asked Venerable Ananda this question: Ananda, every precept and practice, is every one of them fruitful? Right, so the Venerable Ananda, he answered, once unskillful mental qualities increase, while one's skillful mental qualities decline, then that kind of precept is fruitless, is not useful at all. Yeah, so do not take it as excuse that, okay, these 5 precepts, these certain precepts not useful, then I don't follow. Then the next one, if one's unskillful mental qualities decline and one's skillful mental qualities increase, then that sort of precept and practice is fruitful. Right, so then you should observe and practice that. Okay, then after this answer, right, the Buddha approved. The Buddha agreed. Right, so this is actually meant more for monastics. So what happened is, because Venerable Ananda did not ask the Buddha specifically which rules to drop and which rules to keep. So in the first Buddhist council, when Venerable Mahakassapa chaired the first Buddhist council, he decided to keep everything, keep all the rules, keep all the precepts. Right, so the monks observe or they retain all the precepts. They didn't discard any of them. Okay, so how should we interpret this? How should we interpret this? So one way, so if let's say a layperson already so limited, so few precepts, 5 precepts only, right? The basis is, should we discard the practice externally or should we adjust internally, adjust the interpretation internally? So which one would you think is the more right answer? No response. Yeah, okay, let's say, I give an example. Sometimes Sunday school children, I think Casey is teaching Sunday school. Do you teach them 5 precepts? You do, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Today is on Dana.
Yeah, okay. So I'm not sure whether you encountered this, but I encountered this before I ordained. I was helping out in this Gong San Sunday school. Yeah. So some of the children are very young age. They haven't reached puberty yet. They will tell them about this sexual misconduct precept. They have no idea. They have no idea what you're talking about. How to cheat. They have no interest in the other party. They hold hand. Sometimes we ask them to walk in twos, hold hand, and go to the classroom. They don't want to hold. Something like that. So some of the precepts to them, what is that about? Yeah, so they're too young to understand the birds and the bees yet. Some of them. So if it's fruitless for them, it's not to ask them to drop the precept. It's ask them, okay, you just KIV, you can interpret it differently. You can change it to a way that we could talk about self-protection. Self-protection, in case of aggressor want to abuse them, so you must take note of certain things and that kind of stuff. So it's got to do with how you interpret the precept. So how you change and conform the precept to suit the label. Is not to throw this precept away. Yeah? It is to change your internal interpretation and understanding. Right? It's changing of view, changing of the reflection. All right. Okay. Next slide. Yeah. So this is very interesting. Low one is perfect. So again, the precept is actually to train the mind. So no matter how many precepts we take, right? It's not about training external perfectness. It's actually to eventually train the mind. So the Mahayana traditions will give extreme examples, like for example, Qigong, the monk who drinks wine and take dog's meat, and they claim that he's enlightened. Yeah, so this is one extreme example. They're trying to say externally a person can have loose behavior, but the mind can be very pure. Right? So this is one extreme example. But Theravada is more conservative. They are more conservative. So there's a case where a monk is wholly accomplished in virtue, wholly accomplished in concentration, wholly accomplished in discernment. That means it's already practiced very well in the three trainings, Sila, Samadhi, Panya, and the morality, concentration, wisdom. With reference to the lesser and minor training rules, right, he falls into offenses and rehabilitates himself. So he talk about things like this Venerable Sariputta jumping around. And interestingly, every new and full moon, all the monks will have to seek confession to another monk. All the classes of rules, we have to confess. Either we may have intentionally or unintentionally broken them. We have to confess all of them. So small training rules, certain habits. But if you can acknowledge, you know the rules, then it'll be better. Then you can rehabilitate. You can transform and change yourself. But sometimes you do not know what rules you've broken and nobody point out to the person, then very hard to change. So another case example would be this Venerable Kondanya. Venerable Kondanya is the first 5 disciples of the Buddha, or the first Arahant disciple of the Buddha. So what happened is, after he got enlightened, he went for his own self-retreat. So after some time, he's not seen in the community, in the monastic community for a while. He go for his own retreat for a very long time in seclusion. By the time he come back, then this Buddhist monastic order grew to quite a certain size. Then there are a lot of these new junior monks. And first time you see this Venerable Kondanya return. And this Venerable Kondanya, when he was in his own retreat, he grew long beard, long hair, long beard. So by that time, there were already rules to tell the monks to shave and not to keep your hair longer than 2 finger breadth long, so about 2 cm, yeah? Not to keep your hair too long. So for him, his hair all over the place too long. Then the junior monks asked him, hey, why you never shave your hair? But he's an Arahant already. Why you never shave your hair? Then that junior monk is not enlightened. So the Buddha asked the junior monk to come over and say, you can close one eye and please do not pick fault with this issue. Yeah? This Venerable Kondanya is your elder. Yeah? He's already an Arahant. Yeah? So give him time to adjust to the new protocols. Yeah? So something like that. So there are certain rules which are more customary. It's not really much of reducing greed and hatred. Yeah? Some of them are more social norms and that kind of stuff. So the third paragraph, having undertaken them, he trains in reference to the training rules. In the ending of affluence, he dwells in the affluent-free awareness, release, discernment, release, having directly known and realized them for himself, right in the here and now. Okay, so there's these 2 interesting terms, awareness, release, and discernment, release. So the Pali word is called Ceto Vimutti and Panya Vimutti. Yeah? One is liberation through awareness, through the mind, and the other one is liberation through wisdom. Yeah, so these are the 2 terms. So basically, in short, if a person observe the rules and you keep perfecting yourself. So earlier on, we talked about how to meditate on your precepts. So one way is to find fault for yourself. Can you self-improve? So don't overdo it. It's just more like self-reflection to seek improvement, right? And if you cannot find fault, then it's good to ask your partner, somebody that you can confide in, somebody close to you, or somebody that you're practicing Dhamma together, as an honest practitioner and companion. Do I have any faults that you can find in me? So this one is asking for admonition. So normally the monks do it after the rains retreat. After the rains retreat. Before that, they don't care about each other. Right, after the rains retreat, we have this special ceremony called the Pavarana, where the monks living in communion from all over the place, where they settle down to seek shelter from the rain season, from different walks of life, different venues they come, and they live 3 months together. Then they have this Pavarana. Well, 3 months living together, do I have certain habits that you can find fault with me? So you invite others to find fault. So this is the only time where you can find fault with others. Other time, do not find fault with others. If not, every time you find fault with others, a lot of trouble. Yeah, then have a lot of this relationship problem. But if you ask for it, then it's a different story, because you are the willing party. You ask for it, so you can go ahead and mention all the things, but of course in a respectable way. Yeah. So this is the one of our Buddhist customs. So now we're going to mention these two things: affluent free awareness release and discernment release. So in the post-canonical version, discernment release, or this panya vimutti, means practicing concentration until up to the 4th level of concentration. And from there, then they don't do concentration any further, and they do this vipassana, practice insight meditation until they reach enlightenment. So this is their definition of discernment release. However, if you look at the suttas, this Panya Vimutti Sutta, interestingly, they mention a person can do all the jhanas, first jhana all the way to 8 jhanas, and the person must be able to differentiate, know all the differences between all the 8, and able to release from that. So a person doesn't have to do all 8. A person can just do one. Let's say they just do the first jhana, and they can have this panya vimutti, discernment release. Or a person can do the 5th jhana, and from there they can have discernment release. So this is according to this Panya Vimutti Sutta. Okay, then there's another term called this Ceto Vimutti, yeah? Affluent free awareness. So this is called release of the heart, release through the mind. So this is usually the case where people, in most contexts now, very common, a person, for example, they they recite the Buddha's name, recite the Buddha's mantra, they recite, then enter calm and quietness. They do not know which level. They do not know what level of concentration, but they're able to reduce greed and hatred, and they're able to get liberation. So this is called Ceto Vimutti without Panya Vimutti. That means awareness release without discernment release. But if a person is able to know, right, able to tell and differentiate the different states of mind, which level, and they're able to liberate, then this is both discernment release and awareness release. Right, so this is the supposedly the ideal case, right? But I think most people, right, for the greater good, no, they just do the first one. Yeah, this awareness release. Just recite Buddha will do. I don't have to think so much. So most of the teachers will just do this. Don't have to think so much. Just recite Buddha will do. So what level they don't know. Yeah, what stage they don't know. Just Buddha will do. Yeah. Okay. So are there any further slides after this? Yeah, okay, end of the presentation. So I'm going to, is there a break or something?
There's a 10 minutes break, Monday.
Okay, so we have a 10-minute break. Like you see in the picture, you can do your stretching, can go for a toilet break, and we can come back for the Q&A. So you can take your time to reflect if there's any questions, and I'll see you back again to have this Q&A session. Right, see you later. All right. Give me 1 minute. I'll come back. Well, this Q&A session very long, 2:40 until 4 o'clock. Okay, so take your time and fire away.
No question, then can off early.
Yeah.
Do you want to start, Ade? There's one question from Facebook side.
Okay, sure, yeah.
Ajahn, how can we apply the Dhamma to change grief and worry into positive energy apart from reminding ourselves life is uncertain and impermanent?
Grief and worry, yeah? Yeah, normally if there's, we talk about fear and worry, one of the traditional recommendations is recollecting the triple gens. Building this faith and having confidence and use it to overcome this worry. You talk about what's the first problem again, Terence? Besides worry, what else? Grief, huh?
Grief and worry one day.
Yeah, okay. So for grief, when the person faces grief, upsetness, or suffering, there's many kinds of issues or reasons why people get upset, right? So one way is to first, normally we have loving kindness to ourselves, loving kindness to all sentient beings, and eventually we need to reflect on karma. Everything is arising and passing, everything subjected to separation. Whatever dear and beloved to us will be separated eventually. So you need to condition your mind with loving kindness first. If not, you straight away come in with this kind of separation, pain and suffering. But the mind will not be in the right state of mind to accept the truth. That's why always in our meditation, always have loving kindness first before you think of old age, sickness, and death. If not, you straight away think of old age, straight away without loving kindness and think, next time if I old, who will look after me? Do I have enough finance to cover my cost in my hospitalization bill and so on? So you will tend to worry. The state of mind very different. So first you need to have a right frame of mind. Right frame of mind. So always have right thoughts first, loving kindness, right? And thoughts of impermanence will come later. So very important to have loving kindness to make the mind more wholesome, more positive. Then you can reflect on separation, things will come and go. And slowly from there, then you'll develop wisdom. All right, so hopefully that answers the question. So a lot of times when a person just go for, let's say, an intellectual kind of class, they straight talk about impermanence or even emptiness. Won't hit them, doesn't hit them at all, and doesn't go deep. The frame, the state of mind, not there to accept the teaching. So you need to condition the mind to be a positive state, have this loving kindness. Then it's easy, and it's like a sponge, you can absorb the truth. Okay. Hopefully that answers the question. How about the rest on Zoom?
Bande,
Yeah.
one of the precepts says that we cannot use intoxicant, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how about when cooking, we use the cooking wine or
Okay.
the alcohol? Is it permitted?
Yeah, okay. So this one again, different people has different interpretation or different guidelines to it. So my point of view, if let's say you are cooking when it is still heated up, when the pan is still hot and heated or in a frying mode, most probably the alcohol will get evaporated. You just left with the taste only. Yeah. So this is one way to avoid the alcohol. But if let's say you already the meal is cooled down, then you just add the alcohol afterward for extra kick, and then that will be adding this taking this alcohol, which is not so encouraged. Yeah, but there of course there are those who are even stricter not to even include the alcohol in cooking. Yeah, so depends on which community you follow. But if let's say it's for medical reason, or it's really like prescribed by the doctor, like mentioned, let's say the cough syrup, there's alcohol inside. But let's say for your case, it's cooking, then it's not really essential. Then again, it's up to your discernment. It's your choice, yeah, whether to put alcohol or not. But the whole idea, the essence of precepts of this alcohol is not to make you drunk. Yeah, so if by adding this little flavor, of course there are those who argue, say, take a bit of alcohol. Some people say never mind, right? So the more you a little bit, then you accumulate, then end up have lots of issues. Sometimes there might be a bit of addiction, or this alcohol not good for the liver. Yeah, not good for the all the other organs, the blood or the brain, whatever. So it will harm your body. Yeah. So again, you have to discern yourself, which is how do you call it? No, whether it's essential for the cooking or essential for your practice.
Yeah, because now I turned vegan already. So
Okay.
honestly, I also don't want to touch because I'm not sure whether if I break any precepts or not by using the alcohol in the cooking.
Okay. Yeah. So if it's not essential at all, then don't need to put, no problem.
Thanks, Andy.
Yeah. So interestingly, when we talk about flavoring food and flavoring, nowadays the modern circular mindfulness will teach you be aware of all the tastes. When you eat the food, must know all the tastes, must savor every flavor. This one is very against Buddhist mindfulness teaching. If you want to talk about right mindfulness, it's about dispassion. You're not supposed to crave for flavors. Yeah. So interestingly, one of the monastic Dhutanga practice is to mix all the food inside the alms bowl. Or sometimes people put ice cream, put chicken, medicine, and we are supposed to mix everything inside the alms bowl. Anything goes, yeah. Then we also just eat. You're not supposed to care, okay, this flavor, that flavor must be separated, must be presented nicely in certain dish. Of course, for those who are not taking this ascetic vow, it's all right, yeah, then they eat separately. But there is this optional ascetic practice, which is to mix everything inside the alms bowl. So there's a reason for this. Is to we call it shake away the defilements, clear this craving for the taste, craving for the taste of the food. So you may try it. Yeah, after you all no appetite, don't blame me.
I think you'll have to you have a precept to say before you start your food, right?
There is contemplation, food contemplation. That means you take your food not for beauty, not for not for fattening, not for leisure. Yeah, it's mainly to maintain your enough health and energy to continue your practice.
So in other words, you also do your Thanksgiving before you touch food.
Yeah, it is a kind of meditation also. Yeah.
Yeah.
Food meditation.
I learned it in the Dhamma online with Dr. Phra Goh.
Okay.
He was saying that we should give thanks to the food before we actually start the food. So yeah, he said the simplest way, he always remember, he follows the Japanese way of saying Idadakima. Yeah, which means that you thank the food for giving you the energy from eating them.
Yeah, it's also practicing gratitude. Yeah, gratitude.
So I try to be mindful if I remember, I always do that.
Okay, very good. Okay, any other questions or comments? Yeah, you feel free to speak up. Any interesting insights or reflections? Earlier on, I asked a question about the 4 great standards. Are there any conflicting precepts at your workplace? What is allowable? What is not allowable? Anyone can, or any issues or any case studies that you can recollect, you can remember, or you want to share?
But there's just a reflection that the monk has a confession kind of system within the Sangha community.
Yeah, correct.
And then the lay people, we do not have this. We only have our self-reflection and, and then, I mean, it's self-improving. But I also know that there are other religions, they have this confession cubicle where they actually
correct. Yeah, the Catholics.
So I was wondering how come the Buddhist community don't seem to have a system very much similar to the Sangha community.
Yeah, it's very optional. If let's say a person, they feel they transgress the precepts, then they can go to look for a monastic to to ask for forgiveness and also to retake the precepts. So in the Theravada, like my temple before the COVID, like every Sunday, the abbot can administer the precept 3 times. Morning once, before mealtime once, evening puja once. So they give 3 times. So every week, people just retake and retake and retake the precept again. That is like in a large scale, but sometimes in a personal basis, if they are very close to a certain monastic, they can approach them and then they can have like an interview and go and relieve their problem, or I face certain issue, how can I overcome them, or I've transgressed these precept, how can I further improve, or can I retake the precepts like that. So this can be done also. And in fact, every evening puja, there's confession to the triple gems in the Thai tradition. So we seek forgiveness from the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha through body, speech, and mind, whether intentionally or unintentionally that we commit any kind of mistakes. So this daily confession, daily confession.
One more thing, Bante, you mentioned about Punya Vimutti and Ceto Vimutti. Is there a difference between the Sutta Maya Panya and the Cinta Maya Panya?
What's that?
The wisdom from listening.
Okay. Okay. Wisdom from listening. Okay, so if a person were to talk about mindfulness of activities, mindfulness of the body, they can be talking, listening, walking, doing any activities. As long as they are mindful of impermanence, then they can have this release as well, right? So if they, in most cases, there will all kinds of liberations will have Ceto Vimutti. All liberation will have this Ceto Vimutti, but the Panya Vimutti is an additional one, whether they're able to differentiate the different states of mind or different states of concentrations and so on. So if a person were to listen to some teaching and get enlightened, they may or may not be able to differentiate. Yeah.
Thank you, Bante.
Okay, no problem. Okay, Yiling, you have something? I saw you pressing the mic. Okay.
Yesterday, I asked about managing pesticide. today my question still goes to the first precept of non-killing. So today my question is about managing parasites, blood-sucking parasites such as the ticks or the fleas. Like for example, I adopted, like recently I adopted a stray puppy. So I give the puppy a bath at the body of the puppy I've extracted like over almost 20 different sizes of ticks, ranging from microscopic size, and the largest size of the tick is about the size of a rice grain. So in that process, when I scrape those ticks out, and it really killed them, especially when you wash them off with a shampoo. If I weren't a Buddhist, the excuse that I will give to justify what I did is that how can you compare the life of a tick to the life of a puppy? Because dogs, puppies, cats, and dogs, they have emotions. They will cry when you try to hurt them. Ticks, parasite, insects, they don't do that. But if I weren't a Buddhist, but now I've already learned about the Dhamma, I have little understanding. So what is your point of view? What is your point of view in this? And another one is that suppose that you are crossing a river barefooted, and you know in that, not necessarily a river, or you're crossing a swamp, you know there's this blood-sucking creature living on the underwater, like the leech. So when a leech sticks itself to your foot, when a leech sticks itself to your foot, to you know, these leeches, their suction is so strong that no matter how you try to pull it, you cannot pull. So the only way is to pour salt on the leech, and then the leech will release itself. But it killed them in that process. But you do not have the intention to so as for the ticks and the leech, you do not have the intention to kill them. For the ticks, the motive of reading off the ticks from the puppy is because it's for the welfare of the puppy, so that the puppy will not suffer skin disease. And for the leech, the purpose of reading off the leech is, of course, you don't want the leech to suck your blood. So
yeah. Yeah, so this is a very good example of the 4 great standards. So again, thank you, Terence, for putting up this slide again. There is a few conditions for breaking the precepts. So in terms of killing, right? If your intention is to look after the puppy and not deliberately have hatred to the ticks, it's not that you shower the dog because you have hatred towards the ticks, because you want to keep the dog hygienic, keep the dog clean, since you want to domesticate the stray dog, then I don't think it's considered killing, breaking the precepts of killing. Yeah, so likewise for, I think there was another participant that asked previously about viruses and bacteria. So sometimes we must sanitize our hand and that kind of stuff. So if killing viruses and bacteria is breaking the precept, then very chala. But we have to look at the society's the norm. So now it's a requirement, right, to sanitize ourselves, and it's the right thing to do, right? So you're not breaking the precept. So in terms of the 4 great standards, right, you talk about like any pet owner or pet caretaker or any vet, this is the right thing to do, to shower the dog and remove the ticks. Yeah, so this is allowable in that context. Yeah. So does that answer your question, Eileen?
Yes, I'm satisfied with the answer. Thank you, Bhante.
Okay, all right, no problem. Yeah, because whatever we do, sure we harm something. Sure, you know, unintentionally harm something. All the food we consume, sure, something died out of it. Okay, anything else? No questions, all in the precept very well.
Bhante, I was told by another teacher that the precept, reminding a dying person of the precept is very important. It empowers them before death. I was wondering how it goes. And then just now, one of the slides says, just keeping one precept is already powerful. So which precept is that keeping just that one precept is power?
Oh, okay. Yeah, the topic was sent by a student group. So I just recycled the slides over this retreat. But the main thing is to keep all 5, all the 5 precepts. So one, keeping any one of the precept alone, if you do it without greed and hatred, then it will slowly extend to all 5.
So it's still 5 precepts, not just.
Yeah, it's a package actually. Yeah, it's a
precept,
package.
yeah.
Yeah, you cannot say I want to remove greed without removing hatred. Yeah, it's together. Yeah, this greed and hatred is part of the craving. It surfaces. It's relative to each other. Yeah, so if you want to observe not stealing, you also have to observe not killing. So all of them are together. Yeah. So if you are, let's say, a person observe only 2, then you're dishonest. Then you, let's say, a person cheat a partner or tell lies. Then there's already greed and hatred involved. Yeah. So if a person, the one precept is mainly to be a pure person, avoid evil, do good, purify the mind. Yeah. So that is the simplified version. It's like a main folder, then expand out, expand, and you have more and more precepts. Yeah. So the main one is ultimate goal is to be a good person or a pure person.
Thank you.
Yeah. So you asked the first question about
dying person also.
Yeah, the death bed practice.
Some people, some patients were dying. They don't really understand those Pali chanting and all that.
Yeah, correct.
Just by quoting them the 5 precepts is a way of empowering them to move on. I was thinking about this, how it works.
I haven't came across this, but the only one I came across is the Sri Lankan custom I heard before. Is for a death, a person at the deathbed, the relatives or their friends are normally like their practice is to read out all the good deeds they've done. The read out, remind them, no, you have performed this good deed before, these good things before, or even their precept, you have been this honest before, you have been this kind before, you have this done this goodness and this precept you observe very well, something like that. Yeah. So so this is a good reminder. Yeah, it's a reminder. You don't have to recite them the Pali thing if they're not Buddhist. You have to make them take certain ceremony and whatever, unless they want to. If not, it will be a forced conversion. Forced conversion. And if they have aversion, if why you force me, I'm going to die already. Then it might create aversion. So it might not help them. Right? It creates this anger. Then it's negative karma.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
The one about reminding them of good deeds and joyful moments. I think that one I've heard that many times. So I think it's also linked to the precepts, like
correct.
that you have been keeping good precepts and all that.
Yeah.
So probably it's all linked in a way. Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Okay, no problem. Because normally at the deathbed, very hard for them to practice the precept. I mean, keeping the precepts is easy. At the deathbed, they cannot perform a lot of the things already. Yeah. So it's more like normally you just ask them to recite some mantra or do some certain meditation practice. Yeah. Okay.
Sorry. Just now you were saying recite some mantra and do some meditation practice. Can you elaborate a little bit, like which mantra and how do you actually guide them into this meditation practice?
Yeah, if let's say they are already Buddhist, then reciting the Buddha's name or the Buddha's quality, that would be like the most common practice, right? And the rest would be quite hard. Yeah, but if you talk about, let's say, not really Buddhist practitioner, and I think loving kindness or compassion, that would be more universal.
Like metta.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. Thanks.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, there's one from Facebook.
Yeah.
Why is it so easy to gain knowledge from reading Dhamma books, but difficult to apply and realize wisdom from the Dhamma learned? How do we know our wisdom has improved tremendously after practicing Dhamma? Is there a benchmark to measure wisdom?
Okay, so yeah, you can look back at the series on the 10 fetters. There's like the talk, right? There's a topic on 10 fetters. So basically, if a person reduces greed and hatred, then that would be the benchmark of wisdom. Wisdom is not about knowledge. Yeah, it's about reducing craving. So that is wisdom. All right. So a person can be very knowledgeable in Dharma books, but like mentioned, if you do not know how to apply or without proper guidance, then it's just like any knowledge. A person can be a degree holder in physics, in science. That doesn't make them a good person. A person can be a very good scientist and be a wholesome person. A person can be a very good scientist, but also an unwholesome person. And then they create all the nuclear weapons or these bioweapons and so on. So recently they are targeting this, investigating this Dr. Fauci or something. So we leave the investigations there. But yeah, this is intellect. Intellect is one thing. So a person can be very knowledgeable in Buddhism, very knowledgeable, but that doesn't mean a person is emotionally detached. So like the person mentioned about, if you want to apply, then you need the practice part, the meditation part. So again, there's 3 levels of understanding: study, practice, and realize. Study, that's the first level. You get to introduce yourself with the concept, with the theoretical understanding. And then the second phase is to put it into practice. You try to apply, you try to practice. Of course, it's not overnight. You take time to develop these qualities. And the third phase is to eventualize, to realize it. So hopefully that answers your question. Any other questions on the floor or on the comments? Okay, it looks like everyone's happy and okay. Then we can have an early closure for this sharing for your own self-practice. All right, so the evening time, what time is 6:45? Oh, sorry, 7:45. Yeah, 7:45, huh? Okay, so see you all back here at 7:45 for the evening meditation. Right, okay.
Thank you, Bante. Sadhu.
No problem, sadhu.